Wishing for peace and justice, for giving me this opportunity to speak tonight. My name is Shiho Burke, and my maiden name is Kikuzaki, which means chrysanthemums in Japanese. I'm the only child of two survivors of Hiroshima bombing, Toru and Mizuha Kikuzaki. At the time of bombing, both of my parents were 10 years old, attending at Kannon Elementary School. On August 6, 1945, my mother was exactly where she was supposed to be at school, which was 1.1 kilometers away from the epicenter. My father was about 1.5 kilometers away from the blast. He was home because of the stomach ache, which had likely spared his life. Most of the people at school either died by the initial explosion or within the months or years from the radiation sickness. My mother was initially trapped under the burning remains. Miraculously, the shade of light led her to climb out and escape from the debris of which once stood on her school. She had severe injuries to her scalp and arm. After her escape, she started to work toward a designated bomb shelter that students were assigned to gather in the case of the air raid. She was stopped by the soldiers who told her she was walking toward the blast site instead of the safer ground. Then she finally decided to go home. Her home was still standing. Her mom and dad were there. Her 13 and 15-year-old brothers were forced to work, forced to build the plane parts instead of attending their regular schools at the time of the bombing. One of the brothers, Georgie, was badly injured. He has passed since, but I remember him from my childhood as a handsome man with the extensive scarring covering one half of his face. The other brother, Kunihiro, took his own life at the age of 27 after the long struggle with the depression due to the loss of his father and his mobility because of the existing genetic condition. My mom's beloved father, the governmental official and the prominent businessman, went his way to help others right immediately after the bombing. This led him to the second exposure to the radioactive fallout, black rain. He died 2 months later, in October, from the radiation sickness at the age of 38. The day of the bombing, my mother started having the symptoms of radiation sickness. This was the beginning of her lifelong struggle dealing with the after effects, dealing with the physical after effects of the bombing. At the age of 27, the doctor pronounced her terminal and gave her 3 months to live because of the worsening of the radiation poisoning aggressively taking over her body. My mother's faith in God and will to survive led her to embark on her own regimen of Eastern medicine, which she deeply credits for saving her life. After 5 failed pregnancies, she gave up the idea of having children. She unexpectedly became pregnant at the age of 40 and had been in 1974. I'm sorry. Growing up in Hiroshima and my parents' experience of the bombing has been a major feature of my own life. Daily encounter with the people whose life has been shattered by the bombing encouraged me to speak out for peace since my own age. In 1984, Japanese director Shiho Burke allowed me to star in the film White Town, Hiroshima, which was about a young girl whose life got forever changed by the bombing. I also traveled as a junior journalist to Germany, Czech Republic, and Vienna, narrating the documentary of the Yamato, the architect of the atomic bomb dome, a landmark in Hiroshima. In the wake of the 3/11 Fukushima Daiichi accident, it was surprising, as it was distressing, when the Japanese government was not only concealing the truth about the accident, but also giving out the bogus information to their own people. It angered me that the first nation to witness the total collapse and the destruction of the radiation exposure to human body. The first nation to witness the total collapse and the destruction of the radiation exposure to human soul still took the risk of using the nuclear energy because of the shortage. As a parent of 3 children, the sight of mothers walking around with a radiation detector to ensure the security and safety of their children in Fukushima brought tears to my eyes. The recent health reports have already shown the abnormal blood cell counts in hundreds and thousands of Fukushima children. When does this end? When do we learn the nuclear materials are God-hungry materials, and the misuse would end result in the ferocious destruction of human lives and souls? We live on this beautiful planet which we were responsible to pass down to our children and their children. We all have to hope and pray the unnecessary consequences of engaging in the nuclear technology